Matthew was clever, very clever. He was good with sums, good with books. But no one liked him. People would cross the street to avoid bumping into him. They would pull their children away as he walked by and would spit on the ground as he passed. This was because Matthew's job was collecting taxes. What's wrong with collecting taxes, you might ask? Well, I'll explain. Where Matthew lived, near the Sea of Galilee, the Romans were in charge. No one liked the Romans. They'd marched into the country and taken charge, and no one could stop them because they had lots of soldiers. Now the Romans needed money to buy nice shiny uniforms for their soldiers and to make nice straight roads for them to march along and to buy nice big houses for all their commanding officers. And they didn't want to pay the money themselves. So they made every single person pay them money so they could do what they wanted with it. This money was called taxes. Everyone hated the Romans, but they were afraid of them, so they paid their taxes in case they were put in prison or worse. But even more than their hatred for the Romans, the people hated the people who collected the taxes for the Romans. These were just people who lived amongst them, but knew they could make quite a lot of money working for the Romans. Matthew was one of these people. He was a tax collector. Every day people would come to Matthew's tax booth to pay their taxes, and he would get a lot of money for doing the job. Matthew began to hear people talking about a man called Jesus. Matthew thought about what they said. Then Matthew started to see the man called Jesus around and about, speaking. Everywhere Matthew went, people were talking about Jesus, and now he started to hear Jesus speak himself. Matthew began to want to know who this Jesus was. He began to long for a different life. He began to think that perhaps some of the things he'd done and said were not good, and he kind of wanted a new start. Then one day, Matthew was in his tax booth collecting taxes, and the people were waiting in a queue to pay, and Jesus and some of his disciples walked by. Jesus stopped and pointed and looked directly at Matthew as he was serving in his tax booth. Jesus said, "You, yes you, leave everything behind and come now and follow me." Immediately, Matthew left his tax booth, left everything, and went to follow Jesus. The only thing he took with him was his pen. He used this to write down everything he saw and learnt. Later, much later, all the things that Matthew had written down were turned into a book. The book was called the Book of Matthew, and it's in the Bible. Matthew's life was transformed by Jesus, and he became a true and loyal follower of Jesus.